It's time to sit down and relax for the good, the bad, and the sequel Q&A with your host, Doug.
Hey there, Doug here. Before we start this week's episode, I just have to mention the tragic passing of actor Tom Tiny Lister. Obviously, everybody knows him as Zeus, Debo, and they just know him as Tiny. Most character actors, people say, oh, that guy from that thing. But everybody knew who he was. And for us, it's tragic as well because he was one of the first big people that said yes to us, and he didn't have to. His agent, manager were like, hey, we'll forward this over to him. I don't know if you'd want to do it, but he did. And it was really amazing that he took the time to do that. So rest in peace, Tiny. Now, this week's interview is with someone that I have admired my entire life. My sister's friends, we used to all hang around and watch Big Girls Don't Cry, They Get Even. Fletch Lives, we loved, and that's the sequel that we're going to be reviewing on Thursday, which you're gonna be mind blown. It is really, really good. And then she was on NBC's Sisters, and she was on Amazon Prime's The Tick, which is amazing. I wish they do another season. And that is actress Patricia Kalember. We talk about all that. We talk about her growing up and how she got into acting. Amazing story about how she met her husband, who was Elaine's English boyfriend on Seinfeld, among credits like Chariots of Fire. But Patricia's amazing. She was a lot of fun. And I love that she kind of turned the tables. She was asking me questions along the way as well, especially about my daughter, which is really cool. And I'm going to quit blabbering because you're going to love Patricia. And here it is, actress Patricia Kalember.
Hi, sorry.
Oh, don't worry about it. How you doing?
I'm good.
This is awesome.
Figured it out. Unbelievable. Are you in LA? This is why?
No, I'm in Jersey.
Oh, you're in Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, most of the people I email are in LA. So whenever I tell people times, I always tell them in PST because like one time in the beginning, somebody thought it was the opposite. So I'm like, you know what? Might as well just say PST, and because most people are out there, but you're on the East Coast. I can see the rain.
Only in Connecticut.
Oh, you're in Connecticut? You're back there?
Yeah.
That's where is that where you spent like most of your youth?
No, you know what? Most of my youth was in Louisville.
Oh. How was that compared to how long were you in Connecticut when you grew up?
3 blissful years.
Oh, okay. So you don't remember them.
I came back. Oh, for sure. Yeah, the South was not for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. So that's pretty cool. So how did I saw you were born in Schenectady, which is a fun thing to tell people because it's fun to say.
Yeah, learning how to spell it was fun too. For me.
Yeah, you always have to write it. Yeah, that's true.
Totally had to write. I learned at a very young age. No, my dad worked for GE.
Oh, okay.
So we started in Schenectady, then he went to Detroit, then he went to Louisville, then we went to Westport, he went back to Louisville. So it was one of those. We moved a lot.
So you're kind of like, you relate to like the army brats and like the
total army
people.
brat, completely and utterly.
So that's cool. So on your journey, like growing up, when did you think like, hey, I want to start acting?
That I was going to be an actor?
Yeah.
I auditioned for a play in my high school freshman year. It was 1984 to play the female lead. Like you're doing 1984 in Louisville, Kentucky in 1970. 70? Yeah. So I didn't get it. And I was so crushed by that experience that I didn't audition for anything. I was going to do law. I got accepted to Vanderbilt in pre-law.
Oh, wow.
And I had sent in my dorm room fee. I had done the whole thing. And then I did the senior play. We did Guys and Dolls. And I played Adelaide in a really bad blonde wig.
What pushed you over the edge to try out again?
That was it. I don't know. And then I just transferred to Indiana University because I knew they had a great theater department.
And that's awesome.
And then I got to be there.
That's cool. And then later in life, we'll get to it later, but so then you were on, like Law and Order. So you kind of did something in law.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, playing a judge.
Yeah.
No, actually, I was a madam first.
Oh, nice.
I played a pimp first, and then I recurred as a judge.
I interviewed an actor that his wife, I can't think of her name right now, but she was a star, one of the main characters on 30 something. I know you were on that for a while. I can't think of her name. The husband was Cotter Smith.
Oh, it's Mel Harris then.
Yeah. So his family is all lawyer. His brother's a lawyer. His dad was a judge. So that he wanted to be an actor. He never obviously did like the family business, but later in life, he was a judge and a lawyer on like every, if you look at his IMDb, like 95 on, he's lawyer, judge, or CIA.
That's hysterical.
And his dad, his dad said that he was believable. So that was good.
The things we get to do, you know?
Yeah, no, it's so cool that you did that. So on your IMDb, your first credit, how did it get to that point? So you went to Indiana, you graduated. Did you graduate from there?
Yeah, I graduated. I got a BA in theater. And then I moved to Philadelphia with a boyfriend.
Okay.
And because he was going to Temple in the graduate program. And I auditioned for Temple. So I ended up 2 out of 3 years at the MFA program.
Oh, wow.
But after the second year, I was offered a gig down in Baltimore to get my equity card.
Oh, sweet.
And a job. So, and they wouldn't give me 3 months off to do it. So I just quit. And there you go.
So what was that first job you had in the theater in Baltimore?
It was theater, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was Cyrano de Bergerac. I played the orange girl to F. Murray Abraham's Cyrano.
Oh, wow.
And he was amazing. And Terry O'Quinn.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, way. And then I did the front page with Terry. I played his fiance.
Oh, nice.
And then I moved to New York.
So
and just started kicking around.
That's kind of like where it was at, right? At that time?
New York. Other people, people moved to LA too. Yeah. But this was during the time of like Diner, and it was all about getting New York actors for a while, and I just wasn't comfortable in LA.
Oh, did you try to go out there before?
No, I never.
Oh, you didn't? There. Okay.
I would only go there if I had to, like if they gave me a job.
So your first credit on here was on the show Texas.
I can't remember that job.
I think it was like one episode. I didn't know if you had a name.
I think it might have been 3.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
That show was on for a long time. I never heard of it until I was doing research.
Look, I don't remember doing it. So that's where we are.
Do you remember, what was your first memory of actually like acting like on TV or film that was like, hey, you know what? This is going to be what I'm doing. Yeah.
It wasn't with soap operas, because those were my first gigs, and those were, those big video cameras they used to have on wheels. It was those, and you'd always have to have the shot at the end, where there's no dialogue, and they come in close, and I would always break, and they were so mad at me because I would just be like, I can't see, I feel like an idiot. So I got fired.
Oh, man.
Fired. I was fired from Loving. Bryan Cranston was my boyfriend.
Oh my God.
Bryan got fired first. And then I got fired. We still talk about it. That was like his first gig he ever got fired from. And I had one more after that. But the TV movie of Loving was with Lloyd Bridges and Geraldine Page.
Oh, wow.
Directed by Michael Lindsay Hogg. And Geraldine was always missing. She had this big hat and bare feet, and she'd just sort of wander off. And Lloyd Bridges was, Michael would put the camera down low, and Lloyd would go, "You're going to move that up, right?" It was such an. I was 24, I think.
Yeah.
It was such an experience.
Yeah, that is funny. The whole pulling in with the big cameras, like even when you watch them now, and like every cut to commercial, it's like
They still do it.
I know. It works. Honestly, it's crazy in how many they film and how many new episodes they have a year. It's pretty remarkable, but people watch it, I guess.
Well, although now, I guess, I had a lady say to me in CBS, and I'm wearing masks too, and she recognized me, which was
that's good.
And she said she misses the soap. She misses her stories, because they're not filming them right now. So people really, really, really like them.
Yeah. That's great. Somebody recognized you just by your eyes.
Isn't that nuts?
I recognized the guy. We went and bought a couch, And it was a guy that he used to work with like 6 years ago, and I recognized him.
Yeah.
And he was like floored about it. He's like, just my eyes? Like, well, he had like these eyes that were like really like, I don't know.
Like Bradley Cooper eyes. Yeah.
No, I would say the opposite of Bradley Cooper eyes.
Oh, okay.
Very menacing, and I'm like, oh, I remember that guy.
Isn't that interesting? Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you. And then the first film, like TV film, was a Stephen King. Cat's Eye. Was that your first?
Yes. Cat's Eye was my first. I remember meeting Dino De Laurentiis, and I was so nervous, and I don't know how I got that gig. I have no idea how I got that job. And I didn't know what I was doing. Oh, my God. Because camera was just so, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I screen tested for Diner, too.
Oh, really?
And this was, I think, before Cat's Eye.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think so.
And they put me on a stool and measured. It was just for focus. What do I know? And I thought it meant I couldn't move. So I did the whole thing just like a frozen deer. It was just horrible. It was horrible. And Ellen Barkin was out there going, relax. What does it matter with you? And I'm like,
oh, wow.
Did not get that gig.
Well, I guess you have to learn somewhere your first time. It's not like you have classes for. Yeah, maybe they do that now. Classes
they do
for
now.
auditions. Yeah,
they do now. And what's really interesting is because I do think acting is acting is acting. It just is.
Yeah.
But on stage, you have to make sure you bring them. You've got to get out to them.
Yeah.
On camera, you wait for the camera to come to you because you don't have to. You don't have to make that effort. But if you don't push it out there to welcome them, that's when you see failed stage acting because they're not getting it. So
when was do you still, obviously right now you're not doing any of that, but when was the last time you did stage?
I took over from Christine Lottie playing Gloria Steinem in New York here.
Oh, that's sweet.
And then I did it again at ART in Boston with Diane Paulus. And that was my last time on stage.
But before that, were you still doing it like throughout your career, like in the 80s and 90s? Oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did a Broadway play with Mark Hamill.
Oh, that's
called The
awesome.
Nerd. Bob Schenken, who's a playwright now, very famous Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright. He was my fiance in an off-Broadway play. I mean, you live long enough and you work with enough people.
I know.
It's kind of crazy.
No, that's cool. You're still able to do it. It's cool you're in Connecticut because that's a good spot to be able to do it. Because I know out in LA, obviously they have, in major cities, they have theaters, but nothing's like Broadway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same. And it does make me sad because I don't know when Broadway is going to get.
Oh,
but my husband has written a one-woman play based on the French portrait artist Elizabeth Vigée-Lebrun, who did portraits of Marie, oh my God, help me, during the Revolution.
Antoinette?
Yeah, Marie Antoinette. And I mean, so if you look her up, she's some of the most beautiful, lively portrait paintings. She was hugely successful. So he's written a one-person play for that, and we're supposed to do it in Aspen in August as a workshop, but
yeah, I know.
We don't know.
My wife's a teacher. She was just on a conference call trying to figure out like what to.
How does she feel about this? What does she teach?
She teaches middle school English.
Oh my goodness. Is she nervous?
Yeah, we have a daughter. So like, and we have obviously our parents aren't like on my side are like the healthiest. So it's like, I don't know.
Oh, that's so hard. It's so hard. And the kids need to be back in school.
Oh, I know. It's like one of those things like
they do.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't, because there's both sides to it. Like, I don't know. Cause you never know. You never know when what's going to happen.
No, and we're not even out of it yet. We're not even at the end of the first week. So anyway,
it's unbelievable. So it was crazy. So when I looked at because who knows who's married to who? Like without, it's not like I run into you guys. Oh, hey, how you doing? But when I saw who your husband was, so you met him around this time, right?
Yes,
I
was doing
Cat's Eye 85-ish.
Yeah, no, right after I was doing The Foreigner. So Cat's Eye was 84. So in 83. So in 84, I was doing The Foreigner, which was an off-Broadway play. And he came to see me. Well, this is a great story, actually. He was directing at the time.
Yeah.
And he was directing She Stoops to Conquer with Nathan Lane and Tova Feldshuh at the Roundabout. and he couldn't find the second female lead. And I wasn't getting any theater auditions from my agents. And I said to them, if you don't get me more theater auditions, I'm going to leave. So they call him because he'd seen everybody. And the casting director lets me in the room and turns to my husband and goes, "This is a favor."
Oh my God.
And I started auditioning for him, and he literally was asking me like all kinds of questions and I left the room, and he turned to the casting director and he said, "That's the girl I'm going to marry."
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? And he didn't cast me.
I really want to take you on a date. Oh, what about the gig? Well, that's not going to work out.
No. And then I ended up getting a better show. I ended up getting The Foreigner, and he came to see that. And then that was that.
That's really cool. And then, it's funny. I remember him in a few things. So I clicked on it because it said married to, and then you click on it and then his IMDb. And I'm like, I remember him from Drop Dead Fred. I've heard of Chariots of Fire. I'm sure I've seen it years ago. Yeah. But the thing that I remember him from, and it's crazy when a show is that big, you remember the little characters. His role on Seinfeld.
Ah, that's so funny. Did you see the last, oh dear Lord, James Spader show where they blacklist? Did you see the last Blacklist?
Oh, no.
Half of it? He's in that.
Oh, really?
He was filming it as this, an evil person, and they ended up animating him.
What?
For the scenes that he didn't shoot. You really should check it out. It's very cool.
I'll check it out.
It's like half comic book, half.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now I wonder what they're going to do in the fall for TV.
Look, I think the best shot for getting things up and rolling again is small independents.
Yeah.
Because they can quarantine the crew, the cast for 2 weeks. They're in lockdown. Nobody comes, nobody goes, no family for like 4 weeks, and then they'll have something.
That's what I was hearing. I was hearing Tyler Perry was doing something like that because he has like a whole thing down at outside Atlanta, and he's going to keep everybody in the building. I was thinking a really cool thing, and you've been in shows, and I'm sure you've been in pilots that maybe they didn't get picked up. But over the years, there's so many pilots that get shot that are just like sitting there. But I know they couldn't. There's so much red tape, so they couldn't show them because if somebody liked them, they're not going to be able to. Somebody's going to have to pay for it to be on TV. But I think that'd be really cool if they put on like old pilots or ones that just didn't.
Wouldn't that be funny? That'd be interesting.
Have you shot any that never made it to air?
Gosh, I don't think I have.
Well,
I mean, I've shot ones that like didn't last long.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I have because I'm kind of picky.
In your shows?
Yeah. I mean, I just, in what I do, you know what I mean? If I need the money, it's another thing, but I'm kind of picky.
Well, that's good. That's good that you're able to do that.
Yeah. Yes. I'm lucky that I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
And there was a while where I wasn't, and I really had to take, whatever came.
Yeah.
But lately I've been able to, like, in the middle of the lockdown, I think I was sent something for a Hallmark Christmas movie, and the world was on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just couldn't. I thought, this is not a reason to come out of pandemic.
Yeah.
Playing the Queen of Latvia or something. And I just didn't. I didn't see it. And I'm probably wrong. I know I'm wrong.
Yeah. At least you're like, you're thinking of me. That's good.
Yeah. Well, and it was shot in Connecticut, so I'm sure it was like, oh, she's in Connecticut. Like, she's Mikey. She'll do anything.
That's amazing. So early on, that was pretty cool. That story about your husband. Hey, you guys met. So then, like after that, you landed a lead in a series.
Right after that, I shot the pilot of The Equalizer.
Oh yeah.
That was my very first TV thing, and it was only one shot because I was the victim of the pilot. I was this stalked woman, and then I ended up booking Kay O'Brien's Surgeon.
So that's a big difference of being just somebody shot to.
And it was CBS, so that was amazing. But I don't know how people do that anymore. And I was young, but 70, 80-hour week, 90-hour weeks, it's just you. At one point at midnight on a Friday, we were talking about myocardial infarctions, and I just couldn't get through it. It's a grind. And I'm grateful for the TV work I've done, but boy, your own show, oof.
That's the hardest, like, because you were on other shows for a while, like Sisters. That was easier because it was split up a little bit.
Much, but even those hours got brutal.
Yeah.
And I had small kids. The Good Wife, I remember sitting across from Juliana Margulies, and I went, "You are a hero." She had a 2-year-old baby. She was so calm. She just did her work. She didn't complain. I was like, I was not as good as you are.
That just, it's funny you mentioned that. I just read about that because the actress Ruby Rose was playing Batgirl for like CW.
What happened with that? Yeah.
The same thing. She didn't like the hours and because they shoot, I think at most of those shows, they shoot up in Vancouver. So they're shooting some in Vancouver on location and then some in the studios in LA. And she just couldn't handle it anymore. I thought it was something in like worse. And then when I read it, it was kind of like the same thing. Like, hey, you know what? The money's good, but I can't. I understand being that she's in every shot pretty much.
It's every shot. And you start to say, okay, the money's great, but what about my life?
Yeah, that's true.
Especially with kids. I've got 3. So it's, they miss you.
Yeah, and you don't want to miss a thing. That's why, like, kind of like right now with everything going on, it's pretty cool to be able to have my wife home, I'm home. We have a 18-month-old, so it's pretty fun.
What's her name?
Emerson.
Do you call her
English teacher? Yeah, we call her M. Yeah, but my wife's Ralph Waldorf Emerson. So, and it's different. Nice. And being a teacher, there's so many names that you associate with like a bad student that you've had. So,
yeah. Sure.
So like we were going through the name list and we're like, oh, Mackenzie. And she's like, no. Mackenzie. It's true, you know.
Funny. That is so funny. Yeah, we have 2 granddaughters, soon 3, from our oldest daughter, and it's Lennox, Luella, and we don't know about the 3rd yet.
That's good. The different names are good. Like Doug, I know that like people know. There's people people named Doug, but honestly, like growing up, it was very rare, which was pretty cool.
That's nice.
And that's why my parents picked it. No like story behind it. Really, just I never knew a Doug.
Oh God, that's so cool.
That's what my parents said. Yeah. Not like a really like good story behind it. Just I've never heard of that.
Man, I can't get this angle right. This whole it's like I can't even look.
Don't worry. So then you shot. I know you worked with him, I think later on, but Tim Matheson.
Yeah.
What was it? You and the
Just in Time.
Just in Time. Yeah. Guess
who I replaced? Annette Bening.
Really?
Yes. They fired. She did the pilot. They fired Annette and hired me. It was kind of like, what's wrong with this project? I don't think. And she went on, and I ran into her recently, and she was like, I still remember you replaced me. And I went, and Annette, there you are. And here I am. I think you got the better deal.
Do you know that when you go in, when they bring you in, they're like, okay, so we just canned somebody, you're filling in?
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be weird because all those people are together for a while. It's like you're joining a team that already has been working together and you're just trying to like.
It's really weird. And they, the other actors, Tim was, kept his cards close to his chest, but the other actors adored her. I mean, who wouldn't? She's freaking brilliant. And especially there was an older lady who was really resentful that I took over, and I was like, I'm sorry. I'm just sorry.
You're like, I didn't do this. It's not like I fired.
I know. And I think we only shot 7.
Yeah.
So that was the second one. Wow. And then I did 30-something.
Oh, it was right after that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That show was that's one, like after talking to Cotter, and I talked to somebody else, or I was reading somebody's interview, an actor, I forget who. But they were talking about that show as like just being like so ahead of its time back then for what they talked about.
And it was a dream to work on, actually, because the writing was just so good.
Yeah. And
they hired great directors, and they kept the studio from, mucking in, and it was a good show to work on. It was a calm set.
And that was like a big time in your career, right? Would you say like that was like a turning point that you started to get like 89 on? Cause like, so Fletch Lives.
Yeah.
So, so is that where you
Yeah.
used that Louisville twang because you had a nice
I
little Southern
did.
accent?
That is right. I did that. Yes, I did.
Can you still turn that
Um,
on? Have you,
oh, are you kidding me? All the time. I just start talking to people and it's like, what are you talking about? I don't know. Totally. And Julianne Phillips, who's in
which is
Sisters,
crazy.
was going through the divorce with Bruce.
Yeah.
We had the same color hair, and the producers asked me if I would dye it red, and so that's how I ended up with red hair for like half of my career. And we're still friends. And I'm like, Julianne, I had red hair for decades because of you.
That's
But she's yeah. Go ahead.
So no,
Sorry.
being from Jersey, me and my wife moved out to Portland, Oregon for a few years. And the company I worked for was like right next to Lake Oswego where she's from. So when people
Yeah.
caught wind I was from New Jersey, because it was like very rare, I guess, for people, they'd be like, oh, do you like Bruce Springsteen? Do you like, because, you know, she's like obviously she was an actress and married to Bruce. So it's a big deal, but she was like treated like a goddess there.
Oh, well, she is a goddess. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Frankly,
Oh, no, I
is.
know that.
She's like one of the most splendid human beings and gorgeous, gorgeous. Good Lord. Insane. But yeah, the whole Bruce thing was intense.
Yeah.
It was intense. I mean, paparazzi was at the hotel and it wasn't easy for her. And she really held her head up. She hung in.
So how was that? How was working with Chevy Chase?
Oh, I adore him, actually.
Yeah,
I know.
awesome.
I adore him. And Cleavon Little.
Yeah.
Cleavon Little before he passed. And the funniest man I've ever met in my life, Cleavon. Such a sweetheart.
That movie's great. The first one's great. And it was cool that you were in it.
There was.
He died.
Well, that's me. You know, I'm sort of like the Zelig of famous movies. I sort of show up.
Well, one that we'll talk about later, you're like, it's pretty amazing. Like you think about movies being on screen so little, or we'll just talk about it now. So like Signs, your role in that movie, you think about it, it's like, how long did you shoot that?
That was about 3 days because we also did flashbacks of us as a happily married couple, which weren't included in the movie. And I know it took 2 days to do the tree tracking.
Sure.
And Knight, when I saw him at the premiere, said to me, don't be mad, but you're only going to get the 3 seconds at the end. And I was, okay, I hear you. I get it. It's okay.
But it's such an important part of the movie, and the whole movie like hinges on that moment.
I know.
Like what you say, it's pretty cool. And I know you worked with like Mel was pretty. I'm sure like Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh my God, do I adore him?
Yeah.
Joaquin is adorable.
He's just been that way his whole career. If you look at even like Clay Pigeons, like his early roles, it's like he can do that. Just
adorable. And Mel was really great. And it was before I think things sort of went off the rail because he was still with his wife and Cherry Jones. Do you know Cherry?
Who's crushing it right now. We're watching Defending Jacob on Apple TV.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, it's pretty good. I think it's Chris Evans and one of the main, I can't think of her name, from Downton Abbey, but Cherry Jones plays one of the prosecutors.
Oh, I'm going to have to check it out then. What is it called? Defending Jacob.
Defending Jacob, yeah.
Okay. She's great in Succession too. Have you watched?
Oh, yeah.
Fabulous.
No, there's so many good shows. At least right now, you get to catch up on all your shows.
I know.
So we talked about Fletch. So like right after that, it's probably like only like a year or two. So Sisters.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was like a big deal. And you were like, we talked about it, like a few of the shows you're on, just sometimes shows just don't hit like with the audience, but that show, did you have a different feeling?
I almost, I kind of had to be talked into it a little bit.
Really?
Just because I was ready to start freelancing more.
Okay.
Instead of being locked into a show. But then once we had readings with the ladies. Thela was the last one to come on board. But the other 3, we would audition other actresses in front of the network. Like, Meg big blue eyes. You know who I mean?
Megan Mullally? No, right?
No, dang, I can't remember her name. Anyway, and then Sela came on board, and that was it. I was a goner because I loved those ladies. I loved working with those ladies. They were amazing.
And that was like a kind of a rare. That was a Saturday night show, right?
Saturday night at 10 o'clock.
That's rare, and for a show to be that successful, are there even new shows on NBC? No,
on NBC. No,
at 10 o'clock they just re-air SNL. Like an old SNL at 10 and then SNL at 11:30. So it's pretty rare you were able to like command that time slot. And it was on for a long time.
It was 5 years, I think.
And
120 something episodes, yeah. And we've had people, want us to do a reboot like everybody else is doing, but we just can't. Nobody seems to be biting.
That'd be cool.
I think so.
I think I know some people, they say like, oh, these ideas are rehashed and doing reboots. I think it's so cool for the audience, even like a little like get together, even some of the ones they've been doing like on Zoom, like they did the Parks and Rec reunion. That was so cool. One night, hour.
I should talk to the ladies about that. That's a good idea. We could do it on Zoom.
Yeah. Like you guys are talking about like what's going on right now with where you're at.
Yeah. Well, you just gave me a good idea. Well, Sela just broke her ankle.
Oh no.
She was looking at her phone at her farm in Mississippi and stepped off a step and broke her ankle.
I was watching something. If you go on the IMDb for like a lot of shows, they have like little videos. And one of the videos was I don't want to say it's the creator of Sisters. I wouldn't remember the name if you said it, but they were talking about that they had to get talked into Sela because they didn't see her for that role. And they met her and then were just like wowed. Yeah,
exactly. They couldn't find Teddy. And originally I wanted to do it. I was wanted to cut off all my hair and spike it and just be, because I'm a character actor. Yeah. But they were so set on me for Georgie that and I thought, and they were seeing actresses that were like really rough, like ex-alcoholic, like rough. And I thought, okay, I see, I get it. And then Sela was great. She was great.
No, it's like one of those things you have to find. It's like the Beatles. You need that perfect fourth or third or fifth in a group to like make a show work because that's what it's all about. And one movie that it's so funny, like there's movies like based on my age, like when I grew up, Big Girls Don't Cry, They Get Even. It's such like a huge movie because my sister's 4 years older. So she was like 10 when it came out. But since this was like a New Line movie, it was always on. The trailer was always on before Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 2.
Oh my god!
So I know I've seen the movie a ton of times, but I know the trailer like word for word. And it was such a great movie, and I was shocked that the main girl, I can't think of her name, that she was done after this.
Oh yeah. You know what? She was a judo, like a black belt judo, like pre-Olympic, really quite serious.
Maybe
so it could be that's what it was.
Because she was in Home Alone 2. This is star of your own movie, and she was such a cool role because she was like breaking the fourth wall, telling the audience.
She was cool.
It was
good. Yeah, she was done.
Yeah, I guess some people just get to that point, but yeah, you and Griffin Dunn, that cast is phenomenal.
Crazy cast. I know, and Adrienne Shelley.
Oh,
do you remember? Do you know Adrienne's story? Okay, Adrienne Shelley, who played the girlfriend pregnant with twins.
Oh yeah.
Okay, she went on to write, produce, and star in Waitress.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And was murdered in her office in Midtown when she was, after having a baby, she was like 42.
Oh my God. So this must have been 2000s?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And her husband really shopped it around, which is how the musical got created, because he really wanted her legacy to continue.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's terrible.
Weird.
That was weird. I interviewed the writer for Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2 and a few other things, this guy, Michael Grace. So I'm doing research, and then I never knew the whole story behind Griffin Dunn's sister.
Yeah.
Which was like unbelievable.
In front of her parent, I know.
Yeah. And they even like, there's these things in the movie that you don't realize, like in Poltergeist, like she has like bruises on her, like in the one scene. And I guess maybe even like the directors or people on set just for some reason didn't notice, but
I bet they did. They just, I don't know.
But yeah, Griffin, awesome
He's
actor.
a wonderful actor. Yeah, he's so good. Also in Succession.
Yeah. Another like funny guy too, because his IMDb photo is a lot of actors are able to choose. His is him getting the makeup on in American Werewolf in London. His face is like all mangled and it's like that side angle. But no, he's always been great in that movie. It's just such a cool movie. It's like that era of like, you know, there's movies that are within your, like when you're growing up, you could always go back and like remember that time. And like that Sandlot or like those kind for like, I guess my generation. Sure, there's some that you put on, you like can almost like escape to back when you were.
That would be Jaws.
Oh,
Jaws,
nice.
The Exorcist. You know, those terrible, scary.
Not as heartfelt.
Yeah. Oh.
Jaws is phenomenal. I was lucky enough to interview the production designer on the first two movies. It's some pretty cool, like behind the scenes stories.
I bet.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Did you ever go up there too? You're not too far from there. Oh, cool.
Yeah. Because we're friends with Danny did a play with Amy Irving.
Okay.
And she and her current husband, Ken Bowser, who's also a documentary filmmaker, they have a house up there. So they invited us up and she showed us the dock where they filmed. And it's crazy.
It's cool when you can go to spots like that. Like up in Salem when we went and saw like all the places from Hocus Pocus that they filmed in. It's cool to do.
Yeah.
So then we talked about signs. So one thing I wanted to talk to you about, because obviously you're in so many different things that are really cool.
Thank you.
But more recently, you've been pretty busy. So you're on like Orange is the New Black, Madam Secretary, Power. But the one show that I want to talk to you about, The Tick. Obviously Cheating, it's right there. Yeah. What a cool show.
Tick. My gosh, if you had a grandmother to lobsters, I can't look at lobsters the same way. Seriously, we cooked some the other night, and I was like, I'm having trouble with this one.
That's got to be the most different project you've ever been in, right?
I have to say Power.
That's true.
I play a coked out addict. My whole concept, red hair. My whole concept of the character was 1555, which is 15 from the back, 55 from the front.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they were having all these like little juicy sweatshirts with like, stuff hanging out. But it was awesome. I loved that gig. And they're doing a spinoff with Joe. So
that's cool.
I'm hoping his mother shows up, in a Mustang and needing drugs. That's what I'm hoping.
That is so cool.
But The Tick was really the second season was such a great season. And Amazon just pulled the plug.
Yeah. Such a good show. And with Walter, like his underlying thing that finally comes out.
I love Francois. He's so great. He's just so great. And Peter. I think the suit was brutal. The suit was tough.
It looked like it because it looked like the other one that I can't think of his name. I should know it. The guy that played the Tick in the 90s on Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick Warburton. Yeah.
Right.
So his suit was more like, it just looked like something that I could wear at Party City. And not saying it wasn't hard to put on, but this one looked like form-fitting. And
he couldn't, the original suit for the first season was, he was having physical therapy. It weighed that much. His back it was really, really tough. And then the second one, they rebuilt it, but that's why he was losing armor.
Yeah.
When pieces were when he was molding. That was the way they were explaining the change, but it was pretty tough.
Because that first season, right? Wasn't like, it was like 4 or 6 episodes and then they continued from that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think they did 6 and 6, and then the second season was another 6, right?
Yeah.
No, 10.
Yeah.
I think we made it to 10.
Definitely more,
and Griffin Newman, who plays my son, was my oldest boy's bunkmate at camp.
What?
In Connecticut, yes, because he was a improv guy.
I know. Yeah. He's like a Second City kind of guy.
Total improv guy. And then he became a counselor at that camp and counseled my youngest boy. Yeah. I was like, Griffin, oh my God. 6 degrees.
That's really funny. And then did you recognize him right away? Did you met him before?
I knew his name. I just knew his name and the boys told me.
And then you're his mom. And the girl that was
Valerie.
She is a really great actress. I could see her being in big things because her character in The Following was just sinister. That was a great show too.
Yeah. She's in The Following. That's right. That's where she met her husband, Sam.
Oh, okay.
They're married. Sam Underwood. They're married.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And he is, I would do selected shorts with him. He's a fabulous theater actor. And I remember just thinking, God, this guy's so talented. And then I got to work with his wife. So all these little blessings.
Yeah, no, The Tick is a really cool show. And it stinks that
it is, isn't it?
Maybe you never know. It could go to another.
I think they're pushing to get it on another streaming service.
Yeah.
So that, because Amazon's buried it. I don't know why.
No, I love it. I enjoyed it. And I love the way Peter delivers his lines. Like his lines in that whole show, just the way he talks, it's just so unique and so different. And like, I love those shows and movies, like the Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright movies. They're comedy, they're funny, and there's like really good action.
Yes.
Throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's Ben Edlund too.
Yeah.
Wrote most of the episodes, and he's a hippie. He's got like long hair. He's like so peaceful. It was quite an experience. Choose love. That's his whole thing. And I think we kind of need that right now.
I think that's like Ringo Starr. The other night we watched Ringo Starr's birthday celebration, and he must have said peace and love. Says it a lot throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, we need that.
I can't believe he's 80 years old. He doesn't look it.
Isn't that crazy?
I think
maybe
it's a
he's
little
had
bit
work done.
Yeah, I'm sure he has work done and the dying. But it was funny because at his house, Joe Walsh showed up, and they were obviously staying far apart from each other. But he looked really old.
Listen, I'm not. It's a personal choice. I just wish people didn't feel the pressure to do it because we're all going to die.
Yeah.
And I think if you're 70 and you don't, I mean, you should look good, but you should look your age. If you're 70 and you look 40, I find that odd.
Well, I won't name any names, but I think there's a couple that I can think about that are pretty big still that look almost younger than they did almost 30 years ago.
Yeah. And that disturbs me. It just does. I'm like, good. That's great. That's, good for you. But I also think not only peace and love, but authenticity is going to come at a premium.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Let's hope. Both of those things. So here's one thing I always love asking people is, so obviously we talked about like, acting, but was there obviously you had law. So was there anything else you were thinking about doing, or were you really thinking about lawyer, attorney?
Oh, please. I'm a certified Pilates mat instructor.
Oh, wow.
I did competitive pro-am international ballroom Latin for a couple of years. I started a pie business. One Thanksgiving, they're all my own recipes. One Thanksgiving, really? I banged out like 100 pies, just me.
In Connecticut, and you just sell them around?
In Connecticut. And what's going on now is my daughter, who's got soon to be 3 babies, is starting. She wrote a deck for a cooking show. So it's called Cooking is Personal. And they're all my recipes, and we post on Instagram. You can find us on Instagram.
Oh, sweet. What's the name of it?
cookingispersonal.com.
Sweet. I'll put it in there, and I'll put it out there. That's cool.
Check it out. Yeah. And we were meeting with studios last year, but
wow, really?
Pandemic happened. So we'll see.
That'd be pretty cool. Like what kind of studios? Like Food Network, like those? Or
no, we were meeting more with producing studios.
Oh, sweet.
And then they would sell it to wherever. But we just, the pandemic happened, and now Becca's pregnant, and we're slow to it. But that's part of it. I cooked 3 meals a day since the pandemic.
Nice. Does your husband help, or he just eats it?
No, he just eats them. He's happy.
That's great.
Like, what are you having for dinner tonight? That's what I like asking people.
Oh, what am I having for dinner? We have a crock pot, sausage and peppers and onions. With a daughter, it's so hard, like with a little one, even though we're both home and my wife's not teaching right now, it's just still like at that time she's up. Oh yeah, no, it's the best.
Crock pots are the best. And actually I got a recipe for like a crock pot shredded chicken in salsa verde.
Nice.
That you can either wrap in lettuce or wrap in a tortilla. That's like really pretty easy and nice.
No, we like easy and nice. Like that's why a lot of our dinners are like salmon, potatoes, like something that can just pop in the oven because that's when she's like most awake and like ready to. She goes, we got a good schedule going down now. She goes down at 7:30, nap from like 11 to 1-ish.
Oh, good. Only one?
Yeah, only one right now.
Yeah.
We were at 2 for a while. We were at the second nap. We actually, just before I came out here, we put her down. She wasn't peeping. And then my wife messaged me and she said, she just woke up. It's like it's fun. It's one thing you don't understand until you have kids, but like that second nap, it's like you love being with your kid. Like we are so lucky. Our daughter, I hear stories from like my sister or my sister-in-law, just like problems. We haven't had one problem at all.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's great.
Not any fevers. The only time I ever got to call the pediatrician, like not for an appointment, was just like she gets like these little things when she rubs her eyes, like in the bath. But that was one time ever.
Good. Well, good.
We're lucky. Knock on wood. There's a plastic table right here, but
I know. I got some over here, so it's okay.
Good.
Yeah, no, Beck has the same thing with the girls. They're 5 and almost 4.
They out by you guys, everybody?
Yeah, well, no, Becca's daughters are 18 months apart.
Oh, okay.
So can you imagine having your daughter's 18 months? Can you imagine having a newborn?
No.
It was nuts.
Right now we're getting the treatment of, I don't know if you did this, but we're getting the treatment of when are you going to have another one?
When are you going to have another one? Why do people always ask that? They do. I don't know why. I did it. Becca is 3.5 years older than her brother Ben, and Ben is 7 years older than Toby. So
okay.
We spaced them.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the space, like me and my sister are 4 years. Because at least the other one's kind of like managing themselves. Obviously right now, like could be. But
yeah. And I think the third one being born when Lulu is 4 is going to help a lot.
Well, this has been awesome. Never just
so nice to chat with you.
No, it was really cool when so my buddy reaches out to people and like he'll send them over. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm rewatching The Tick for the second time, and I'm like, this is so cool. And then like all the stuff you're in were so like just so great over the years.
Thank you so much. You're very funny because people would say, "Are you famous?" And I'm like, "Darling, if you got to ask, that's the answer to the question." I am a working actor, and I'm so grateful for it. It's great. I love the work.
Wasn't Patricia just so cool? The connection, the way she knew Griffin from The Tick, her son on The Tick, that he was her son in real life's camp counselor at summer camp. What are the chances? And I'll put her IMDb in the notes because I'm sure you know a ton of things that she's in. She's so recognizable. And like we talked about, she was only in things that made it. She even said, I don't want to sound pompous, but most of the pilots that I did, they got made. So no, it was a lot of fun. And I'll put all of her links in there, IMDb, social media, the cooking she was talking about with her daughter. So don't forget your homework. Okay. It's good homework. Fletch Lives. Wherever you can watch it, watch it. It's insane. Some really funny jokes. Lots of one question that we talked about a lot during the review, which is an absolute blast of a movie. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.